The engine is running, I took a risk, I had to hop out the porch. Had a flicker of hope, and now I'm back with a torch. I rap with a force, I took chances. We jump in front of the ceilings.
Ford Dale, welcome, my man.
Thank you.
You just got back from Appin.
Yep.
You went to New South Wales for us for the 26 Yamaha YZ450F launch.
Yeah.
Did we say Z or Z in Australia? What was it?
YZ, I say.
You say Z. I'm a
Everyone's
mongrel.
different.
I say everything, so I don't know what I am. But yeah, Z. All right, YZ450F. So yeah, it was cool. I've talked to you about doing test stuff before, and obviously your resume, your ability on a bike.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this would be cool.
Yeah.
And it worked out that we could get you there. So yeah, how was that experience?
I loved it. Yeah, it was such a rad opportunity, so thank you.
Oh, all good, man.
Cool to do something different. Obviously spent a lot of time at the track over the last few years, or over my entire lifetime, but specifically the last few years, and not riding. So just standing around watching other guys and doing that side of things. So to be able to break it up and do something different was really cool, which is why I jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's cool, man. Like, the average listener that's not in the industry, like whether it's Yamaha or whatever manufacturer, when they do these launches, they fly the media in, they put them up in hotels, they do the launch night the night before, where they have the R&D of the bike and the specs. They do a presentation. Yamaha does it really well, where they involve the CDO Yamaha Monster Energy team and Jed and Tanny and Dak and that were there, and it's cool, man. It's not just come ride the bike and go home.
Yeah.
Like, it's an experience, right?
Definitely. I think that was the best thing about it as well, just how much effort and logistics were put into it all. So just from the whole event, obviously, like you said, flying in, the presentation on the night before, breaking down the bike, going through everything, giving us the rundown on how it works, having CDR there to back that up, and then the next day showing up, prepped, freshly groomed track.
Did you get flashbacks of being a factory racer again?
Yeah, it was like that, actually. It's probably better, to be honest. Yeah,
no pressure, right?
That's right. Just go out and have a bit of fun, throw the thing around a little bit, get some photos. And
so how was the bike? What'd you think?
Really good. So obviously I've ridden a lot of good bikes in my career.
You haven't ridden a stocker probably for a while.
No.
So that's always experience.
Yeah, that's right. So obviously jumped on the bike, and my first thoughts were, I just want to ride this bike as it is and get a feel of what sort of base it's got. Because I haven't ridden a stock bike for a long, long time. So just to and I was obviously going into it with a different mindset than a lot of the other guys that were there, just due to my experience racing and that sort of stuff and what I've ridden. I just wanted to ride the bike as it was and get a feel for what base it had as a starting point for if I was going to start building that bike up into a race bike.
Yeah, okay.
And I was impressed with it, really impressed.
So did you just do sag and stuff before you went out?
Didn't do that. Just rode straight out. Yeah. Just rode straight out and just got a feel with what the bike was doing, how it felt, where it stuck to the ground, where it didn't, the torque of it, where to use the right gears, that sort of stuff, and just had a bit of a warm up first. That 450's been strong since 2008, 2009. Since what year was it they went to? Was it 2010 they went to the new airbox?
209 was the last of the old gen.
So 2010 was riding for Circo, and they gave us 450s to train on.
Yeah, right.
And that was straight away like, wow, these things are fast. And I've considered them the bike that has the best power since that moment, really.
That motor was wild. I remember jumping on one, and it sounded, at the time, it was so different to what you were used to. Hey,
well, where the
noise came
intake,
from,
so and just getting comfortable with that. And then now it's just rule of thumb that if you get on a Yamaha, it's got that. So it's kind of,
I think everyone's used to it now, right?
Yeah, it is. It has so much torque. So that was the biggest positive from my end. I ride the bike really tall in the gears, so third, fourth gear, and what I was looking for was to see if it pulled it. You get on a stock bike a lot of the time, even 450s, and you try and lug the bike around, and it doesn't have the torque to pull that.
You're short shifting everywhere, and
I've seen that in some of the riders I help over the last few years, even with their factory bikes, where it's one of the points that they struggle with is that torque to lug the 450 around. I want a bike that will lug the gear but still pull and carry momentum. So you can run third, even fourth. I was using fourth gear in a lot of turns at Appin.
So it would pull that in it would still a stock form.
Yeah,
right.
So and obviously the benefit to that is the way the bike handles. It tracks the ground better. It's not over revving and deflecting off things. So that was the biggest thing that I went for straight away was, okay, will this pull third, fourth in stock form, and it did. So the torque and how the bike pulled was one of the most positives for me.
I mean, Ferris has talked about that in here, where he's like, I won that 23 championship on a stock motor.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
literally stock pipe, stock motor.
Definitely, yeah. I think the engine is definitely capable of that. And a
Did
lot
you,
of guys like all over the world will race with stock stuff. It's BT used to ride with stock engines and stuff a lot of the time. So it's really just how you use the bike and use that power, as opposed to like say Toddy Waters or even Cloudy. They're really explosive with the way they ride and they accelerate, so they need that power there.
What so you rode Jed's Beaton's race bike too, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, that I found really interesting when I did that launch back in the day. It was Gibbsy's race bike when I did it.
Yeah.
Comparisons to the stock bike versus the race bike?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, you can tell it's built off that baseline though. So that was when I got on the stock bike. I wanted to feel what the base was, and you can see they've worked off that base, which is a really, really good bike, and then just built 1% at a time to the point where they've got this amazing race bike. Visually at the Nationals this year, Jed's bike is by far the best for me.
It works so well for him.
Yeah, the power it has, the way it tracks the ground, the maneuverability of the bike, the geometry of it obviously work, and they've definitely changed things to make that better.
Is it rigid? Like I remember jumping on Gibbsy's race bike compared to this, and like I said, a new stock bike is rigid no matter what manufacturer.
Yeah.
But then I remember jumping on Gibbsy's race bike and being like, this thing doesn't even, like it felt like a supercross setting outdoors.
Yeah, and Jed's felt the same. It
was rigid.
Because I've ridden bikes like that, so I know what I want as well. Yeah. I knew the harder I pushed it, the better it was going to get, and it did. A lot of guys did ride Jed's bike and thought it was too stiff. I rode it and thought it felt amazing. So
those bikes only work if you're at full speed.
Yeah, you're pushing, you're braking hard, you're heavy on the brakes. You know, the rigidity or the rigid feeling, the harder you work it, the softer it feels. So, and that's where if you're not riding it to its capabilities, you'll get a lot of feedback through your hands, a lot of feedback through the rear of the bike, a lot of, I guess the first thing they say is harsh and stiff.
Yes.
You push through that and you get that plush, nice feeling, but you've got to have the speed to get there.
Yeah, 100%. I think the media, obviously, a lot of those riders are not ex-pro guys.
No.
So then it just feels like a rigid 2x4s in the forks kind of deal, right?
But even as a former pro, you fight with that the whole time. You want a bike that holds up, but then you get that stiff feedback. So all you're ever looking for is something that holds up, but it feels like a lounge chair. Like through your hand.
The vet rider dilemma, right?
Well, it's even a
ex-pro,
pro because you even Gibbsy. I know even the professional riders that I help, and even when I was, that's what you're looking for. You want something that's going to handle you pushing it to its limit, but you don't want to feel anything. You don't. You just want to feel nice, because then all you focus on is just riding the thing, and that's the catch-22 with setting up a bike and what makes a good bike and a not so good bike is whether you can get it to do that. Otherwise, you battle the bike.
Well, yeah, you are compensating for whatever the bike isn't giving you, right?
That's right.
All right, so to finish up the Yamaha deal, obviously you spent the day on it. So it's like for you, okay, Ford, you've got a bike to ride.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, like what do you do to that bike from stock trim?
Yeah.
To be like, I'm going to go have this and ride it once a week. Like what happens from there?
Because the biggest thing is it had such a good base. So I wouldn't go reinvent the wheel. I'd start off with small things. Yamaha have this cool little new thing where you can adjust the ECU and stuff.
Yeah. Did you do anything with that?
I didn't play with it too much. Some of the mechanics had a little go at it with me.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other guys are playing with that a fair bit. And everybody was super positive about it, which is cool. I think just even as a consumer side of things, it's pretty positive for the
cool
vets that are buying a bike just to ride on a weekend.
Yeah, to have your own ECU that's tunable on your phone.
Yeah.
But
other than that, just sag, different fork heights, that sort of stuff. Just I was just looking for, after I rode the bike and really, really liked the torque and how the engine package was, then just started looking for changing things geometry wise, just where I can get it to stick to ground better, where I can get it to turn. If I lost feel here, what could I change to do that? And obviously, just due to experience, I will move my body around a lot to counteract that stuff. But the bike was really receptacle to those small little changes, and it definitely worked.
They still have the forward rear bar mount settings, or is that gone now?
Yeah, they still do.
All right, man. Well, yeah, no, thanks Yamaha for having you out, and that was. I actually wanted to go myself to that one.
Yeah, I bet.
Like, as much as you were my first choice, it was me that was my first choice.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I honestly, with work right now in the business, we're so busy. But then also, I haven't ridden in over a year.
Yeah.
So I was like, probably system forward.
That's one thing I'm grateful for. I rarely ride now, but I can still always get on a bike and just, I guess you never lose that like little bit of an edge. Obviously, fitness wise, like I can't go out and punch a 30-minute moto as hard as I can. I can go out and do a 30-minute moto, no dramas, but you always have that feel, which I'm grateful for every time I get on a bike, whether it's once every 6 months or once a month. I can generate that pretty quickly, which is cool.
It's Ford Dale here from Inside Dirt. We're here at Appin Raceway doing the 2026 YZ450 launch in Australia. It's been a really, really good day on the bike. I really, really like it. A few of the main things that I enjoy is the torque that the engine has. So they've changed a few things to make the bike a little bit quieter. And added some more components to the internal side to get that extra horsepower back. I really like to ride the bike in the tall part of the gears, so third, fourth gear, and this has the torque to do that, which I'm really impressed with. The conditions out here today aren't great, so being able to lug the bike around and get that power to the ground has been a really good bonus. So the bike seems to do that really, really well. Geometry-wise, I really like the balance of the bike. It gets into the ruts nice and easy. There's some braking bumps starting to form out on the track as well, so it seems to track the ground really well in those areas, but otherwise really positive day.